This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
If you're a seeker, don't miss the inspiring book Shamanic Awakening, Between the Dark and the Daylight. This remarkable work chronicles shamanic counselor and indigenously trained dream decoder Sandra Cochran's 35 years of experience with diverse wisdom keepers throughout the Americas. Sandy's initiations across the British Isles, Turkey, Greece, and Egypt, combined with her knowledge of symbology, psychology, and myth, influence her dream blog and workshops. Sandy offers private readings, sacred international journeys, a meditative CD, and her book, Shamanic Awakening, to encourage you as you navigate your earth walk and create a deeper connection to yourself. Find this and more at her website, starwalkervisions.com.
Welcome, as always, to The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and I am so excited today, as always, to be with you. Thank you so much for listening, and we have a very interesting guest coming up, Stephen D. Kelley. Some of you may know of him, and some of you may not. I certainly did not know about the subject that he is going to be discussing, which is really shocking for me because I know about a lot of things, as you guys know, but I'm also always open to learning. So I think this is a very relevant and important conversation that we're in for. But as you guys know, I like to rant a little bit sometimes before we get to our amazing guest. And one thing I've been kind of disturbed about is the viciousness of the attack of those on social media when we express an opinion on one side or another, and then they come against us. And I just have to share with you, I have never had my life threatened on social media, but on YouTube the other day by the same person, I had my life threatened twice. Like, this person was praying in the comments on YouTube to bring down the wrath of God and destroy me, so my blood ran in the streets. I'm like, oh, wow, you hit a nerve when somebody is doing that to you. And so what was I doing? What was I doing that was so horrific that deserved basically a not too subtle death threat? Well, I was commenting on a false flag video, and I'm sure if you listen to the X Zone, you know what a false flag is. But all I did was make one innocent little comment on a false flag video, agreeing, I think, with the person who did the video, and I got a death threat. All that to say, you guys, man, the blood is boiling in America this week, in the last couple weeks, and there's so much fear and there's so much rage, and it's absolutely just a little bit crazy. I really hope you're not partaking of that. The other thing that just kind of blows my mind is all the hubbub over Meryl Streep and all the celebrities and whether they were going to be at the inauguration and whether they weren't and why they refused. And I just have to say, for the record, who cares? I don't know why you guys care. You have to understand something about celebrities. They are abusers usually, and they are the abused. They are puppets. They are mouthpieces. They aren't even allowed to share their real opinion. And when they do, like our friend Mr. West, what happens? Well, they may be allowed off the leash a little bit, and they can cover it up and say, oh yeah, he's having a bad day, or he drank a little too much last night. But eventually what happens? They get yanked out, hauled off to a hospital. I wish you could see my hand because I'm like putting that in air quotes here, and declared mentally insane. And then they do a nice, I call it a rehabilitation program in a negative sense, and they come back and they're very well behaved. Speaking of Kanye West, I happened to listen to a bunch of interviews he actually did before his main breakdown. It was really super fascinating. I encourage you to kind of dig those up on YouTube or Google that, because really some great information. A lot of celebrities won't come out like the brave Mr. Kelley is and talk about what's really going on beneath the surface of this planet. But Kanye actually came out and shared quite a bit of disclosure and facts that is absolute truth on a number of television shows and a number of radio shows before his famous or infamous concert where he was pulled out. So I just found that really interesting when I was watching some of the previous interviews that he done, how much he had shared and how much was truth. And so occasionally, I know it goes opposite of what I just said, but occasionally celebrities do, for whatever reason, maybe a break in programming, or maybe their own conviction, or they're just tired of being what they have to be to get what they have, but they will come out and speak truth. Another interesting thing that's going on is the whole Leah Remini thing. There's a lot online, a lot of buzz on social media, especially Twitter, it seems, about the Scientology expose. I've just got to say, I'm so baffled by that. I'd love for you guys to write me and share your opinion, what you think about that, because partial disclosure, when you're hiding the worst of it, is not disclosure. Like, what's the point? So, these celebrities come out and they do all these good charity works and they raise all this money and they come out and they come against, these evil organizations. But yet it's really baffling to me. I know a lot of people that happen to know her, and they know what she still participates in and what she has participated in. And if you're going to disclose what really needs to be disclosed. And that's why I'm so thrilled we have our guest today, Mr. Stephen Kelley, and I'll be introducing him in a bit. But I just encourage you guys not to buy into the fear, not to buy into the election fear, not to buy into the year 2017 fear. Please do not contribute your energy to fear. Please contribute your energy to education and to peace, true peace, and to action, as we will discuss today. So we'll be right back on The Secret to Everything with Stephen D. Kelley and Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
You have found the secret to everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and I would like to welcome Stephen D. Kelley to the show today. And Stephen was born and raised in Southern California, and I'm so impressed because he is the man when it comes to precision electro-optics, and he has a lot to do with the progression and the use of the laser. He rose from an optics manufacturing technician to the manager of quality control, much experience in engineering and production control. He was continually advancing state-of-the-art of semiconductors, military systems, and massive optics. After leaving to start his own company, he became involved with the CIA working in support of Iraq versus Iran. And he even received a contract to build solid-state lasers, what would turn out to be an NSA operation run by Ollie North. It was a result of this experience that Stephen awakened and began the process of researching the truth and getting on the path to enlightenment. He is the author of the book, City Under the Plains, available now on Amazon. Welcome to The Secret to Everything, Stephen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited. There's so much to talk about. And I didn't know if you wanted to respond to anything. I usually rant about a couple things that are bothering me at the beginning of the show. We can talk about that.
Well, yeah. Let's just dive into this stuff. You have a first question or something you want to say?
Yeah, well, you know what's really funny? I'd like you to talk to listeners. You are leading a movement called Occupy the Getty. And I have to tell you, for everything that I've known about, I didn't even know until I ran across your material in your book, anything about the Getty. So I'm not sure all the listeners even know what that is or how you came to leading this movement and being you're super passionate about it. So if you just kind of take us through that whole story of how that happened, what is it, how we can get involved, and we'll kind of see what progresses.
Okay, well, let me just say that in this NSA thing, it was turned into had a big wake up. Everybody. We all had this big wake up moment, and mine happened. When I was working with the NSA guys, and I realized that the good guys weren't so good, and the bad guys weren't so bad, and I had to go back and reevaluate everything. Anyway, I found out about this dual polarity nature. I realized that the country and most of the world was being run by a combination of Nazis and Zionists, and they actually worked side by side, which was really hard to understand. But they mostly work out of these bunkers, these underground bunkers. And we hear about continuity of government. We know there's Area 51. We know there's Dulce. We hear about all these different bunkers, but there's hundreds of these things scattered across the United States. They're building them in different countries and what have you. Half the gross national product for the United States has been going into building these things for the last 50, 60 years. They have technology down there that's incredible, and they have most of the wealth of the world that's been stolen is down there too. The idea is that they plan on going down there and basically letting us kill each other off and letting the surface turn into wilderness, and then they'll be the ultimate conservationists living in their little castles underground. And of course, we all know about Agenda 21 and trying to kill everybody off, but this is all part of it. Well, it turns out that, and I've been saying this for years and years, is that they don't clean their own toilets down there. They have slaves, and they're certainly decadent. They have sex slaves, and they don't just have any sex slaves. They have child sex slaves and everything you could imagine, every perversity you could imagine. And the bottom line is that these people are all satanic, and that there's actually alien activity, there's demonic activity, there's all sorts of. It's not just humans. It's hell on earth, if you can imagine. And of course, with the Pizzagate and WikiLeaks, we're finding out now that this is real. And of course, I came out saying this a little over 5 years ago, and I tried to tell people about it. And thanks to Julian Assange and John Podesta and those guys, everybody knows the truth. And the bottom line is that they were so certain that they would get away with this that they became arrogant and they became very sloppy. And they just assumed that Hillary would win. Everybody just assumed Hillary would win, and they made no effort to hide their activities. And thanks to people, courageous people like the late Seth Rich, that took those information, those emails, and gave it to Julian Assange, the same ones that everybody's calling a Russian hack. Most of the public now knows that this capturing children and using them for sex slaves is real. And if we go back to Ted Gunderson, the late FBI head, former regional head of the FBI, he said that the CIA had vans and teams that they called the gatherers that would go out and kidnap children and what have you, and take them into these places. What we're finding out is that this is not just using them for sex slaves. This is actually a very strong part of the entire system, which is based on Satan worship and this concept of collecting human energy, which the aliens refer to as loosh. And this is all very far-fetched, but what I learned through my association with these people is that the Getty Center, which is just a big museum built by J. Paul Getty out here in Southern California, it's in top of Santa Monica Mountain, just a little bit west of the 405 freeway between the Valley and Los Angeles. And it is a $6 billion structure that was built to house the J. Paul Getty Foundation art. And the reality is it's no more than a very, very fancy fortress to protect the entrance to the bunker down below. And the bunker down below is a city, and we've used remote viewing to basically go through it and just see what's going on down there. And because of that, they freaked out. And we're finding out that a major portion of what these people do is involving psychic activity and remote viewing and the use of alien technology and all this sort of thing. And they look upon us as something around like intelligent animals, if you will, or less than intelligent, not very intelligent humans. But we're and the main reason for that is because most surface humans are busy watching TV and drinking beer, and they don't really pursue their psychic skills. They don't believe in aliens. They don't believe any of this stuff. They're very closed-minded, and you have to have a very open mind to even begin to progress this stuff. I know you digest it. You mentioned disclosure. There'll never be disclosure as long as people are self-centered and have closed minds, because the secret to disclosure is going to be very, very high levels of spirituality. And I'll tell you one thing, even in combating these dark forces that we're dealing with at the Getty, the only way you can combat these guys is with compassion and forgiveness. Because if you go in there with hate, all you're doing is feeding them with this negative emotion, which makes them strong. How's that for a quick spiel?
I have so many questions. I don't even know where to begin. And I'm familiar and comfortable with this stuff, but you even dropped some information that I wasn't aware of, which is just absolutely fascinating. So I remember in reading your book, you actually had your own turning point where you went from kind of this attitude of let's combat them, kind of, not necessarily violence against violence, but kind of that intensity against their intensity, and then you actually flipped into what you're kind of saying now, and I know, and I have friends that have shared with me that some of the alien species actually all of Satanism, obviously it feeds off of fear. It runs on fear, even down there and up here and everywhere, I assume, interdimensionally. I mean, that's the point. So I think that's super, super actually just honest spirituality when you're saying, number one, we don't go into fear. We don't come from fear. And basically you're saying we come from 528. We come from love. But we still take action. But we still take action because you're definitely advocating action.
I would definitely say that I was from the dark side per se, and I was being groomed for that. And I was very, very heavy weapons. Okay, that was my thing. I invented weapons for the military and for for CIA and stuff like that. That was what I did. And when I was being recruited by these cavers, as I call them, one of the things they tried to do is say, well, we need to fight the aliens. We're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're not Jews, we're not Nazis, we're humans, and we're Earth humans, and we need to defend the Earth. So I said, okay, I'll join the team. I'll help you fight the aliens. And then I realized, well, no laser, no whatever bullet was going to do it, and it was psychic was the only thing that was going to work. So that's when I went from technology into that. I was a big, laser researcher person. And I became, I had some psychic skills anyway, but I went into that. I started joining groups and learning everything I could about the, the love and light community. I dove into the love and light community, basically. And I learned real quick, because I was doing that, I was trying to develop my psychic skills for the purposes of doing battle against these guys, and that's what they were expecting. And then I found out real quick that it was more noble to serve the victim than it was to fight the oppressor. And that's where that came in. But before that, there was a time when I was being recruited by them, and I had to choose. It was be one of the masses or be one of them. And I chose I felt that it wasn't fair to basically, everyone else was expendable. That's the idea. I didn't think that was right. I didn't think they have the right to make these decisions. So I chose to defend the surface dwellers, if you will. Yeah.
Okay, so you've become an advocate in taking action for the victim or in defense of the victim. Would you agree with the statement that I said about celebrities? And I'm using celebrities loosely. You can throw politicians and whatever you want in there, singers. Do you believe that they're both a victim and the victimized? Because a lot of the stories I hear, they do victimize a lot of people, energies, entities underground, but yet they're also just in a way they are, I think, one of the masses at the same time.
I can illustrate that for you really good. It works in a couple different ways. First of all, they make it really, really attractive. Okay, and yes, if they start out with children, that's one thing. They abuse the children. They get them hooked on drugs. They do all sorts of things. Obviously they ply them with candy and what have you first, euphemistically speaking, but metaphorically speaking. But they make it attractive enough to where they choose this path, because they like it enough. But they also, I've seen with the victims, a lot of the victims have the Stockholm syndrome. And I see that a lot in this community where someone says, yeah, I was my lab, I was this, I was that, but then I'm cool because of that. I'm like, wait a minute, you're either a victim or you're a celebrity. Which one is it? Choose, because I've worked with people who are my lab and what have you, and they say, oh yeah, I've got a handler. And I says, well, do you want to fix that? And they go, well, the handler's my husband, so I'm kind of happy with it. I'm like, well, okay, So that's the thing. There's a lot of Stockholm syndrome going on, and that applies to just about everything. But as far as it goes with the ones that they collect, like under the Getty, because trust me, they harvest a lot of people for that Getty thing. And a lot of these people that they harvest are like young kids who are estranged from their families, who are already socially cast out, and they want to be special, and they want to be loved, and they want to be in a group. It's kind of like a gang, and it's sort of like a rave kind of thing, if you know what the raves are like. It's sort of, that's how they get them.
Yeah.
It's like it's an underground party, literally. Okay. And anyway, they get them down there, and then they get them on. Yeah, that's how they do it. They're lost. They disappear. They get them on drugs. Once they get them on the drugs, they're stuck. And then out of every so many hundred of them, they'll pick one or two that can resist all that stuff, and then they'll promote them to the next level or the next level below. And it's like Harry Potter. It's like Hogwarts. This is how they find people that are gifted, as they put them through this stuff. And then the ones that fail are basically used as cattle for loose production.
Oh my goodness, Stephen, we've opened so many doors. I just want to say before we go to commercial break that I work with people and help with deprogramming and kind of some of the similar work to maybe what you do or what you're involved in or what some of the people you work with are involved in. And I have run into this same, I call it arrogance, where they're like, I want to be free. I want to be free. And they're like, but guess what? They told me I have the coolest abilities and I'm the best at this. And I was the best, spy, or I was the best this. And so there is this real interesting Stockholm resistance to receiving help. It's absolutely fascinating. So on The Secret to Everything, we will be right back with Stephen D. Kelley, and we are talking about Occupy the Getty right here on The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, soul balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A soul balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world.
You are listening to High Frequency Radio, The Secret to Everything with Stephen D. Kelley, and we are talking about the Getty, occupying the Getty, aliens, underground cities, captive children, gifted people, spirituality, and so much more. I think Mr. Kelley is the only person that talks and thinks about as fast as I do. So we are keeping up here, and I hope that you guys re-listen to this show and really let it sink in, because I know this is a lot of information and maybe you are very unfamiliar with it, but it's super important. And I guess that would be my next question. Why don't you tell us about what is the Occupy the Getty movement that you've began, and tell us how it's going and kind of maybe some high marks of or victories you've had already, and why should we care, to be honest?
Okay, well, gosh, these are all great questions. First of all, again, I tried to expose these guys because I think this is the weak link in the whole house of cards. The entire New World Order is based on this, because we talk about trying to change the world to fix everything, but as long as we're working on the surface, nothing happens, because the people that control everything are down below, and they know this. They're more than happy to let us burn our own homes up on the surface as long as they're in their castles underground. And the thing about the Getty is that it's not continuity of government. There's no reason for it to be there. So if we get an investigation, we should be able to get in there. And the thing is that these guys have alien stuff, so they know what's going to happen, and they've seen their demise. They've seen it in the future. I had a sit-down dinner with these people, and they actually questioned me about what my intentions were. So they know what's coming. They know it's happening, and it's actually happening right now. And the very fact that Hillary lost and the other guy got in there means that we now have an opportunity to actually make this happen. So I created Occupy the Getty mostly because of Lavoy Finicum. I'm tired of these people having these ridiculous protests out in the middle of nowhere, like the water thing going on, when they should be protesting over here at the Getty. If I can focus the light of truth and the camera of everything on this Getty, people are going, why are you protesting the Getty? Because there's children being held there. What do you mean there's children being held there? Prove it. No, go down there, open the door, open the elevator. This is the Pandora's box. Now, like I said, most people are not that intelligent. I don't have the time to educate everybody and teach them all the secrets of the universe. But what I can do is point them at the right direction and say, open this door. And if they open the door and Pandora's box is open, and all of a sudden, yes, there's 100,000 sex slaves down there, and there's all the secrets that have been hidden from us for hundreds and thousands of years are down there, including all the wealth that's been stolen from our world. 9,800% of all the gold that we own is down there. Also, all the Tesla technology, Atlantean technology, alien technology, the technology necessary to save our Earth from Fukushima is down there. And if I told people that we're going to save the Earth because of Fukushima and the secret is the Getty, they're not going to listen. But if I tell them there's 100,000 sex slaves that need to be rescued, suddenly people are going to pay attention. So people are like sheep, if you will, and I have to treat them like sheep, and I have to say, listen, guys, this is what's important to you. Let's do it. And it doesn't matter who you are. You're going to care about those children. And people are very numb. We have Clinton committing horrible crimes. We have these 9/11. We all know 9/11 was fake. All these false flags are fake, and nobody does anything. But suddenly Pizzagate, even the lowest, scummiest criminal will not abide by the molestation and murder of children. So we've got them, and this is their Achilles heel. We finally got them. So all we have to do. And I've been threatening the FBI. I've been every time I say something about the Getty, I post the Getty. I tag the Getty, I tag the FBI, I tag the DOJ, I tag all the media. That people know. The CIA knows, everybody knows. And the Getty, of course, is a multi-billion-dollar foundation. Anyone in the world other than me, if you were to say anything about the Getty, they're going to sue you. If they use one of their photographs, they're going to sue you. And yet I have I can run around all day and say that they're killing children underneath their museum, and they won't say a word. And I've been doing this for 5 years. And so in other words, the legal proof is on them. If I slander them, they have to prove it's not true. And there's right now I'm putting so much energy into this, and by creating this Occupy the Getty movement and by connecting it to this Pizzagate thing, people are suddenly waking up and they're realizing that this pizza parlor is probably not the center of an international satanic pedophile ring, but this multi-billion-dollar art building here just could be. And yes, it is. But the thing is, again, is if I can get them to open up that thing and I can get them to go down there, they'll see the whole damn thing because it connects all the way to the White House. And I've been telling people when I go on Press TV or RT, I tell them it's like they can't have Donald Trump in the White House because once he goes into that bunker underneath there, he's going to be connected to all those other bunkers, going to see all that satanic stuff going on down there, and that's not going to fly. And that's why these guys are in a panic to start World War III, because their little world is coming to an end. Now, as far as what we're doing to fix it, we've been doing remote viewing. We've been doing all sorts of ways of clearing it out. And one of the most important things that we can do from a psychic standpoint is we have to first put the idea into people's heads. The very fact that we have created the Occupy the Getty word and put it into people's heads, suddenly now their brains and their focus, their intentions are centered on that building, and that's the last thing they wanted. They have hundreds of people there working as psychics and remote viewers to try to put up a shield to keep people from even seeing that place. And they were depending on it. And I'll tell you something else. This is not just humans working to eradicate this thing. There's light workers, everything, angels, you name it, all the way up the level to source that are trying to take this out. And trust me, the barriers that they put up against intrusion do not just apply to humans. They also apply to fourth density, fifth density, sixth density, seventh density entities. This is some crazy business. And it took the cooperation of us silly Earth humans along with all the light workers and everybody else to make this happen. And that's actually going on right now. That's what we're doing right now. And we're doing a show today at 6 p.m. Eastern with a CIA-trained remote viewer who's actually one of them. And we're going down there. And we are dismantling their loose production machinery. We are waking up the people that are under drugs and what have you. We're stirring things up. And let me tell you something. They are already starting to vacate the premises. The elite people know that the jig is up because of the Occupy the Getty movement. And this is why the Queen went into hiding. This is why the elites are starting to snoop around Antarctica. This is why they're having all this interest in over there in New Zealand, because they're looking for a new place to hide. They figured it was all good that they were going to go underground, and they got Fukushima killing us all off. They thought, well, we'll just go underground, let everybody die of radiation, and then when it's all done, we'll come up and we'll turn on our little gizmos and we'll get rid of the radiation. You know, I say, screw that. Let's go down there and get those gizmos and kill the radiation right now before it kills us.
Yeah, there's so many layers to this. You know, I've been informed, and I know you may not know this, I'm actually a remote viewer too, and I try not to go to these places because I have enough problems.
No, you got to join us. We're trying to get as many remote viewers as we can to do this, because it's like we need help. We need more people.
It's funny, when I was reading your book, I already felt myself going there, and I'm like, no, I'm not going there.
You don't have to go there, but you have to send the energy. It's the same thing.
I absolutely will, and I use technology, and I'm sure it's not necessarily even as as intricate as the knowledge you have, but it is, I believe, some of the most cutting edge technology that people are actively using for things like spiritual warfare and raising the frequency on the planet and coming against things like that. But I'm actually going to, after the show, I'm going to have my engineers create a program that's going to support all of you in this, and I will be running that, just so you know that. So I will contribute. I may not wander around there. But,
well, it's retroactive too. So when they listen to the recording later on, they can still be involved, because you know how that scalar stuff is retroactive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we could go into that whole time thing, which is a whole nother show. So what about all the connections? Because you and I both know about the trams, and you and I know that there are cities under every city, including small cities, which would blow some people's mind, or small towns across the whole United States. So what about all these other pockets? You're saying this, Stephen, that this is the big mama, this is the headquarters.
It's not really the big one. Not really the big one per se. The really big one would be Denver, probably. Denver's kind of the hub for this stuff. And a lot of these, like the Getty, is sort of like a regional hub here on California, because from the Getty, it has a big connector that goes out to Edwards Air Force Base, and then from Edwards, I think it goes to Area 51. But from the Getty, it also goes out to Little China Lake, different bases. And there's also one that goes out to Catalina Island, which is 22 miles off the coast right there. And apparently that's where they have their little sub Japan, and they have a UFO base there too. Apparently, a lot of underwater stuff. One of the biggest ones, of course, is in Australia. They got the Pine Gap. That one's like
Right.
five times deeper than these things, most of them, and it's really big, and it has a sub connection that goes all the way. It's in the center of Australia, if you can imagine that, how big that is, and then, but
Wow.
it has a wet connection all the way out to the ocean for submarines.
Ah, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's something. It has a tunnel that goes, a wet tunnel that goes all the way out to the coast by over there by Indonesia, out towards Indonesia.
So
Crazy.
the whole thing is just absolutely mind blowing. I mean, including the fact, and I think you mentioned this, I don't think I'm making this up, that you said this, including the fact that you're suggesting or you're stating clear out that children or humans or whatever are basically being drained of their life force, bodily fluids, whatever they're doing, and fed to the aliens. Did you say that, or did I imagine
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that's true. It's almost like champagne. We make the best. They bottle this stuff up and ship it everywhere. To be honest with you, it's crazy. It's a factory. Seriously, we make the best louche. The Earth human louche is the best, and it goes all. It's like Dom Perignon. They ship this stuff everywhere.
Doesn't it sometimes blow your mind, Stephen? I mean, I guess I'm too entrenched in all this stuff, as are you by now, but doesn't it blow your mind that people are kind of, all excited about the Super Bowl and drinking their beer and going to their factory jobs? And I'm not criticizing that. You guys don't write me, because they will write me. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that intrinsically, but it
I
kind
will.
of
I'll say it.
blows. Go ahead. You can say
I'll say it. I'll say it. There is. Okay, that's bread and circus. Obviously, it's designed. Just having a TV on in the room screws with your brain. The modulations of the light, the sound patterns, even the lack of musical tones is designed to destroy your empathy and turn you into a zombie. It's crazy. And then, I'll tell you, this is the secret of the universe right here. Service to others versus service to self. Some people refer to it as selfish versus being non-selfish, but that's the secret to everything. If you become over 50% service to others, you actually change your frequency, which is a word people like to use. I don't use, but because people like it, I'll use it. You modify your aura, and you actually give out gravity as opposed to taking in gravity. And when you're service to self, you're a gravity eater. Basically, that's what the louche is. It's gravity. It's and the best way to understand the nature of God too is think of gravity. And gravity isn't a force, it's actually information. Okay. It's information that tells mass what to do. We think of it, gravity as a force, it tells mass what to do. No, the action of telling it what to do is actually the information. Okay, so people need to understand the difference with energy. As you know, energy and information are two different things. They work side by side, but they go in different directions, opposing to, right? One energy goes one way, information goes the other way, and vice versa. But anyway, that's that. I see, got myself on a tangent. But bottom line is, if you do the service to self thing, if you become a Gandhi, if you become a Jesus, you strive to do this, a Buddha, you actually become impervious to these negative influences and these negative radiations. I mean, it'll actually protect you from Fukushima radiation, and it will actually re-energize your body. Once you have your chi flowing through your body and you're serving others, you actually regenerate your cells.
Okay, Stephen, we got to go to break, and we'll be right back with more on The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? I'm Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and on The Secret to Everything, we will merge the practical with open investigation into all realms of the mysterious. We will talk to cutting-edge alternative health practitioners, those who inspire and motivate you in business and life, and of course, we will share stories of the paranormal, conspiracy, and cryptozoology. You will transform because of the frequency I carry, the frequencies my guests carry. Life may never be the same after you listen to this program, for the secret to everything is for you, the listener, for those who desire more in every area of their lives and believe that it can still be found. Listen and discover thesecrettoeverything.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
You've been listening to The Secret to Everything with Dr. Kimberly McGeorge, and today I have with me the amazing and wonderful Stephen D. Kelley, and we are talking about Occupy the Getty and so much more. I know that if you drop that into a search engine that you will find a lot of information in previous lectures and talks and radio shows and all sorts of further information for more details, because we can only fit in so much during this hour. But Stephen, you've given us so much great information, and I can just kind of feel the energy of people sitting there in kind of a little bit of like PTSD shock, and maybe even they're going to be like, okay, I'm done with that show, onto the next thing, onto the shopping mall. You know how it is. Let's say for the people that maybe woke up, maybe the show woke them up, or maybe are sensitive or already awakened. What can we actually do? What's the next step for someone that this is the first time they're hearing that aliens are real, that they're hearing that there's underground cities, that they're hearing that, I think you said the CIA takes children. I mean, you said a lot of stuff, and some people are probably like, what? Like, what's our next step?
All right. Okay. The first thing is to have no fear. All right. This is all about, you have to make some choices. Do you want to be a Jedi or do you want to be a Sith? Okay. We're trying to get Jedis to fix everything, clean it up. So if you want to be a Jedi, you got to serve others. You got to be a little more like a monk. And people think, well, I'm enjoying this stuff. I got to serve myself first. Well, the more you serve others, the more the universe is going to give you. It's just the way it is. It is a tough choice, but you got to want to do it. You got to ask for it. You want to ask for protection. Is when you do it, you say, I'm ready to do this. It's like praying. Everything is like praying. It's all setting intentions, as you know. So if you want to do this, you got to ask to do it. Say thank you. It's always about saying thank you when you're asking for intentions. You have to act like you've got it. You don't want things. You just assume that you have it. But again, main thing is to have no fear and expect that people are going to resist. And when you do wake up and you want to share knowledge with people, there's going to be resistance, and don't let that be discouraging. Move on to the next person. There's not a lot of time left, but through information comes strength. When you give information to somebody, you will receive energy, and it's going to make you stronger, and it'll allow you to help others. And when you help others, the best way to become a Jedi and get psychic powers is through service to others, meditation, and sex is good too, but service to others is number one. Tantra, that's what Tantra is. Come on, the Buddhists, that's what they do. But the reason why they do that, of course, is because you want to have equal amounts of male and female energy. Obviously, it's very difficult. That's why we have partners. But the whole idea is to keep the energy flowing. Anger will stop the energy from flowing. Fear, any of these negative things will stop the energy from flowing, the chi flowing through your body. So you need to build up your aura. So teach everybody everything you can, learn everything you can, and we're all teachers and we're all students, right? And as far as defeating the evil, basically, we have to have unlimited love. And what is that? You know what I'm saying? Unconditional love. Yes. We all have to learn unconditional love, and we have to look at our enemies without hate, because we're all the same human. And that's one of the first steps. I look at these guys that are these pedophiles, even the pedophiles, I have to look at them as children, my own children, and I have to forgive them. As hard as that is, as much as I want to kill them and hang them, I can't. I have to offer them amnesty and forgiveness. Maybe they're going to go to a FEMA camp, but I'm still going to love them, just like they were my sons and daughters. Okay, and we all have to be like that, and that's the only way we're going to win, because they will not come out of these holes. They will not stop persecuting us unless they have no fear of us. So we're going to take charge. We're going to give them a timeout, but we have to love them like their parents, and scold them and take charge. And this is where our strength comes from, and this is what we're doing. And all you that are listening, all you have to do is just have these loving thoughts and try not to give them hate, because this makes them stronger. And those are probably some of the strongest things I can say. And just, service to others is number one. Really, that is the number one secret of the universe right there.
And it's so opposite, obviously, what they are pushing. I think, honestly, consumerism is, and greed and the monetary things, and even a lot of the Love and Light group, when you drop in on social media, they're always like, come take my class and, take this coaching class with me so you can have Porsches and you can have mansions and you can have servants and you can travel the world. And it's a distraction, be that anything else that it may be. I think it's a distraction from what I call the work, which is like the work you are doing, the work of, standing in the gap and interceding basically for the entire planet, like you said, of humans. And while you were speaking, it brought up a question. What have we done, Stephen, to make them disregard us and consider us as cattle and hate us so much? What is it about the human race that even makes us the enemy?
Well, this is the thing. The Illuminati think that we've overpopulated the world, and because we do have reincarnation, and the purpose of reincarnation is for souls to mature. And when you overpopulate, you actually have a lot of immature souls running around, and the souls that are mature don't like that, because we all graduate at the same time. So this is why they want to really reduce the population of the world. So, as much as I say that's not, I don't think anyone has the right to tell anyone else to reproduce or not, but that's one of the problems here on the earth, is that there's too many people, so it's taking too long for us to mature. So again, educating everybody and bringing everyone up to speed. If I want to get off this boat and I want us as a human race to graduate to the next level, this density that we're on right now, we're on the third level of density. We're getting ready to transition into the fourth level. We all transition at the same time. So I have to, pull up the ones that are lagging behind, and that's where we are right now. And information will increase exponentially, and we're seeing that happen right now with the waking up is the sparks. And so if I can be a spark in the tinderbox and the match that lights the fuse that turns into the raging fire, that's what we're trying to do. And that's what Occupy the Getty is, because we can have this disclosure and we can wake everybody up, but we are going to have to force everybody to get spiritual and loving here real quick and drop the greed. That's the only way we're going to save, have heaven on earth and paradise, is if people will stop being greedy and hoarding their wealth and learn to serve others. I mean, if the new measure of wealth is how much, when someone wakes up in the morning and says, what am I going to do today to serve other people, and that's their motives, what a wonderful place it would be. Nobody would want anything. We'd all have everything, and we'd celebrate the people that gave the most.
Ooh, that was so well said. Thank you so much for being our guest on The Secret to Everything, Stephen. And how could people get in touch with you, or you shared that you're going to be doing a program? How would you suggest that they learn more?
Well, they can, my name's Stephen D. Kelley, STEVENDKELLEY. Just Google it. And of course, I have a radio network. It's Truth Cat Radio. And we have a few shows, but I'm really excited about the one that's on, because we're going to be doing this live remote viewing. As far as I know, nobody's done live remote viewing of anything, especially this controversial, on the air before. And we've done it. We're going on our fourth show. And I'll tell you something. I want to do some live remote viewing of Fukushima today, and maybe do, because I think we can work on that.
Wow.
I want to work on the problems, because I see, about radionics, about signal processing. So we'll just create an alternative wavefront, and we'll visualize in the fourth density a machine to do this, and it becomes reality, right?
Absolutely. I love it. I love it so much.
This is why we want people like you to help us, because the more remote viewers and psychics we can get involved, the stronger it is.
I'm on board. I definitely love that you guys are tackling, it at the root and the big issue. So check Mr. Kelley out. There's plenty of information on the internet and everywhere about him. But thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. And that was another edition of The Secret to Everything. I really encourage you guys to get involved and not just listen to these amazing speakers, but to take action. And Mr. Kelley suggested some of the most basic action is maybe start to reevaluate where your money goes, where your time goes. Maybe start to really talk to you about TV. And I often say to my own children, I say, what are you doing? They'll say, watching TV. And I'll say, you're watching programming. You're being programmed. Turn it off. Do something else. Go outside. Ride your bike, call a friend, go out to eat, do something, anything other than watch TV. So whether it's the smallest thing that you got out of this show to do, or whether it's really large things and you guys want to pray or do your intentions or send love and light to these areas of the countries or these people, that is where it's at. And if enough people get that movement going, then things will and are beginning to change. One way you can do that is becoming aware of where you're at in your own energy systems. And you can go to thesecrettoeverything.com. We have changed our free gift. We are now running your chakra systems. And actually, if you listen to the show back, you'll hear Stephen talk a little bit about, he didn't say the word, but Kundalini energy and the energy that flows through our systems. And I know he doesn't like this, but it's a term I use a lot, which is raising your frequency. You heard him refer to your energy aura. I believe there's 12 or more layers and subtle layers of the aura. And we can teach you, we can help you if you'd like to awaken, if you'd like to become more spiritual, if you've always thought that there is something more, something greater, something bigger. Obviously, causes like this are the more, but there's also more for you. There's more joy, there's more peace, there's more prosperity. And as Stephen said, as you become more spiritual, prosperity isn't millions of dollars, isn't a Bentley, isn't a $600,000 mansion. It is true heart-filled service to others. And if we can save children, if we can make a difference in poverty, if we can affect radiation, that is the stuff that's going to matter to your grandchildren, your children, and the people that you love and care about. So continue to listen to shows on the X Zone and shows that Stephen does. He does his radio show. Continue to learn, continue to grow, to continue to open your mind. We try to provide you the information. It is absolutely 100% of the time always your decision what to do with it. Check out our programs on thesecrettoeverything.com. We've got a great intuition basic class coming up. You guys can learn how maybe to even become a remote viewer, open up your third eye, plug into your intuition. The world is possible. 2017 is an exciting year. Don't go out in fear, go out in faith, go out in power. We love you and we thank you so much for listening to The Secret to Everything.